You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back to the Cabral Concept. So good to have you with me here again today. I'm excited to share with you a brand new Training Thursday show. I wanted to save this show for today because as we are heading into the new year, it's extremely important that we decide what type of exercise, what type of diet, what type of program is going to be best for us. And you will have so many choices. You honestly will. You'll be able to either choose to go with a personal trainer, choose to go with a workout that you might find online, an online-based program, choose to work out from a particular book that you're using right now, right? There's so many different blueprints that you could use, right? So many different formulas that you could use for your diet and exercise that I just want to make sure you choose the right one for you. So here's exactly what we do in my practice. That's what I want to share with you here today. So we have our online virtual-based practice. We have our functional medicine practice here in Boston. We have our personal training and nutrition center as well, right? So we've got a lot of practices. And what we do is we see people every single day come into our offline personal training and nutrition practice. And they want to work on body transformation. The same thing with people all around the world. We work with people in New Zealand and in Europe and in South America and over in Australia. And so what we do is we always preach the same thing. And what we preach is that we need to create a program that's best for you, that doesn't overdo it in the short term, but has the potential to break through plateaus. That's what a lot of people are missing right now in their programs, is that they will go overboard in the beginning and then do less than they should in the long run, which is why they either start to gain the weight back or they start to lose the muscle tone and they don't get the results they want. So this show here today is without a doubt absolutely geared towards personal trainers, practitioners, and for everybody looking at their best program for them. So one thing I want to share with you, and I haven't shared this yet on the Cabral Concept, is over Labor Day weekend, and here in the U.S., that's the first Monday in September, I got a debilitating injury, and I haven't had an injury, and I always can date back of when it was, since 2003. In 2003, I actually hurt my lower back. I always hurt myself, and it's not often, luckily, but I hurt it doing something that is just dumb, for lack of a better word. So, I knew better. I was in a gym, and I was just literally kind of lazily going to pick up a weight. And I twisted my body, and I bent over to pick it up from the side of my body. Now, that's the most compromising position for your lower back to be in. So if you want to think about the easiest way to hurt your lower back, you'll rotate your spine, especially from the lumbar spine, which is not supposed to rotate. The rotation always comes from the hips, or it comes from your upper back, basically your mid-back, called the thoracic part of the spine. You don't need to know any of this, except that you know your lower back, right? It's right above your hips, so that's called your lumbar spine. Well, what I did was I rotated that lumbar spine, twisted to my side across my body, and just picked up a weight. Now, the weight was not too heavy. It honestly wasn't, which is why you hear all the time people going to just bend down to tie their shoes or pick up their newspaper and hurt their lower back. Well, obviously, there was stiffness there to begin with, or it would not have happened. There was a lack of mobility. Now, keep in mind, this is when I was trying to get, up to my 200-pound goal, right? So, again, just because I was working on aesthetics and trying to get my body as muscular and big as possible, it's not always the best thing health-wise. So during that time, I had very little shoulder mobility, very little mobility in my lower back and hips because my body was stiff. It was stiff because the diet I was eating was quite inflammatory. I was eating so much meat, so much food to try to put on that weight. A lot of fat. I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't just meat. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is it was just too much processed food in general, too much unhealthy food, too much of everything. I was eating 5,000 calories or so per day. Not healthy for the body. But I was doing it because I was in my early 20s and I wanted to put on a lot of muscle, right? That was the bottom line. So that was my goal at the time. Nothing wrong with that. It's good to experiment in life, right? Like you find out what works, you find out what doesn't work. And if I hadn't done it, then I might have always regretted not being able to have a big bodybuilding type body. Well, I didn't, and it wasn't what I wanted. So that's good. You learn these things. So here's what happened, though. I got a debilitating injury back then. I know now that when I get these injuries and things, it's for me to learn from them. So I didn't know about a lot of good chiropractic care until I got that injury. So I saw a chiropractor, and again, I'm always shown the teachers that I need in my life, which is pretty amazing. Because I went to see Dr. Green in Boston and his name was Gustafsson, and they both were great chiropractors in different ways. One, Dr. Richard Green, who's actually right here in Boston, still practicing today, works with the Boston Red Sox. And so I worked in conjunction basically at a specific club that I worked with a lot of the athletes and regular people every day, and he would do a lot of the chiropractic-based care. Well, it's not a harsh, always adjustment. It's also doing some soft tissue work. So this is also where I learned from Dr. Gustafsson, and he did active release technique, ART. This is way back, 2003, right? So not as popular back then. But what he did was he actually showed me how to work on a lot of soft tissue. So I had already gone through my NASM when it first came out. I did National Academy of Sports Medicine certification when it first came out in the year 2000. So way back in the day, taught by the president of NASM himself, because again, this is when it first came out. So I was doing, I did PNF-based stretching, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation stretching. You don't know what that means, but I was doing foam rolling way back in the day. I was doing active release, self-myofascial release. Well, I learned it at a much greater level when I injured my back. Okay, so that was my last injury. Flash forward, 2018, and I hurt my elbow this time. But not from some golfer's elbow or from tennis elbow or epicondylitis, which I've dealt with before, and I've actually helped world champion Olympic badminton players. I've helped champion golfers, professional golfers, PGA golfers with this as well, and we do great. Well, and I was hoping that's what it was, but it wasn't. What I got was something called ulnar nerve pain entrapment right above the epicondyle, right above the elbow. And again, you don't need to know what this means, but basically what happened was there's a nerve that runs down your arm, and it runs all the way essentially from the thumb and hand and wrist all the way up to the armpit. Well, we know a lot of it as carpal tunnel. Well, think of carpal tunnel for the upper arm, right above the elbow. You know, if you hit your elbow, you hit your funny bone, right? Your humerus. Well, think about that pain that when you hit your elbow almost all the time when you go to bend it. That's what I had, because I had this inflamed nerve junction. So basically, they're tunnels that your nerves run through. And so what happened to me is that the nerve was running through this tunnel, and that tunnel essentially got collapsed because of an injury I got. What happened was this, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I was doing push-ups like I do every single morning, right? I do my routine. And in the mornings, on the weekends, my daughters are there, and they do my body weight workout with me every morning. And I love that they do that because, again, it's just teaching them that exercise is fun, that it's not a chore. And they always hop on my back when I do push-ups every single day. And it's no problem. I do my push-ups, they hop on, and I do my push-ups with them. And it's a lot of fun. I can't do as many, but again, I get a little bit of a weight workout in there. So what they did, though, they were jumping around, having fun, and I didn't know it, but they jumped on my back simultaneously, and I shifted towards my left elbow. And instead of me just kind of moving down to the ground, it would have been fine, I pushed back up and I pushed towards my right. When I did that, I felt a little pop, or I felt a little tear. And when that happened, I just stopped and I said, okay, hop off. But I didn't feel anything. It was fine. The next day is when I had the pain. And I tried to rehab through it. I tried to do certain movements through it. Inevitably, what I had to do was just stop. So I've been out of the exercise game now for approximately 8 to 10 weeks of doing almost nothing except the exercise that I could do that wouldn't cause it any pain. So some lower body work, some core-based work, but nothing that caused what's called elbow extension. So I simply could not go into elbow extension or tricep extension. That's when I got the majority of the pain. So luckily it has healed, because if it didn't, I would have had to go into more invasive type things to heal it, which I would have done more acupuncture. I would have done more platelet-rich therapy. So I would have done things like that. Luckily, I didn't have to. Okay. So here's what I want to share with you, and I'm taking my own medicine. As I'm coming into this new year, I could immediately jump into my old programs, but I can't. Here's the reason I can't. I'm going to risk re-injuring or re-inflaming that area. So I need to get my body, not just my muscles, which I know will be able to remember how to do those exercises after 20 years of working out, right? But what I need to do is get my body back to exercising without re-inflaming it too much, without re-inflaming that area. Strengthen the ligaments and tendons and connective tissue around the elbow by first doing a little bit more body weight exercise and then moving back into my previous program. What does this have to do with you and the programs that you're going to choose for the new year? Here's what exactly it has to do. Wherever you're at right now, this is what I just implore you to do. I want you to not go for the gold right out of the gates. I want you to think about realistically, what have you been doing over the last 12 weeks? If your exercise has been sporadic at best, I want you to ease into an exercise program. And I'm going to tell you why. If you go Biggest Loser style, like from the TV show, The Biggest Loser, and you start exercising at your pinnacle, you just go all out. You say, I'm going to exercise twice a day. I'm going to do my cardio. I'm going to do some weight training. I'm going all in. Here's the problem. You have nowhere to go from there, and your chance of injury or inflammation or just running yourself down are extremely high. Not only is your body not used to that, here's the big thing, and this is what I want to teach you today. It's unnecessary. It is absolutely unnecessary because you're not going to get better results from that specifically over the course of 12 weeks. I mean, yes, maybe in a week or two you will because you'll have more metabolic cost, meaning like there's more metabolic demand, but not in the long term. So what do we do? When people come into my Boston, it's just called Stephen Cabral Studio here in Boston. If you're in the greater Boston area, of course, we invite you in. We just do a complimentary consultation. There's literally no charge. You can say, no, this doesn't work for me. And we respect that. We totally understand that. It's completely free to do that. But most likely, you won't be around the Boston area. So here's what I want you to think about for yourself from the program that you choose. Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to say, where am I at right now? And what can I do that isn't going to break down my body, but it's going to start to get me results? And I did a podcast on this. It's the 4 phases of ramping up your workout. It's called How to Ramp Up Your Workout. And if you're doing nothing right now, I need you to do 2 things. I want you to get into your walking, 10,000 steps a day, all right? So you're going to get your iPhone out or whatever smartphone you choose and use the health app. And you're going to make sure you get your 10,000 steps a day. Or if you're someone like me and you don't like to keep your phone on you all day, you might use the different types of like rings, right? You can use a ring or you can use a bracelet or you can use your watch or you can use anything like that to keep track of your steps per day. So what I want you to think about is getting your 10,000 steps per day. Because if you're like most people, you're getting 3,500 steps a day. That's the average person. That's what they walk, right? You need to be doing better than that. But I also don't want to keep it at that. Not for New Year's goals. If you're looking to transform your body, I need 2 days a week of working out. What would be ideal? 20, 30 minutes of resistance training. Do it in an interval-based fashion, right? So 2, 3 exercises in a row. And that's called a superset or tricep. You can do 2, 3 exercises in a row. You're going to complete those 2 to 3 times, then move on to another tricep of 2 to 3 exercises in a row. All right? That's what I want you to look at. But what I also want you to think about is this, getting some intervals in there. Okay, I love cardio. If you've read The Rain Barrel Effect, you know my ideal exercise week. But what I want you to think about is this. After your 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your resistance training, do some intervals afterwards. How many? 5. That's about it. You've never done intervals before, right? If you haven't, why are you going to do 10 to 12? Why? You don't need that. Your body doesn't need that. It's going to get results based on you doing more now. Allow your body to adapt. Don't burn yourself out in the beginning. Why am I asking you not to burn yourself out? Because it's exhausting, you're going to be sore the next day, and you're going to be less likely to work out. What is getting results really all about? Again, we've done now close to 300,000 client appointments. And I can tell you, the people that get the exact results they want are those that stay consistent. That's what it's all about. Now, of course, you need to be on the right program, right? Doing the wrong program consistently is going to get you the results you don't want, right? So you need to be on the right program, but it's about consistency. That's what matters in the long term. Because you can be all out for 3 weeks like a lot of people do in January. What happens after that? Burnt out, fatigued, tired. It lowers your mood. Again, if you're exhausted and you're sore, you don't want to do more things that are going to make you exhausted and sore. Here's what I want you to do. You're going to do whatever workout you choose. You're going to do 1 set the first week. The next week, I mean, if you're not too sore the next day after that workout, then what are you going to do? You are going to do 2 sets. And you're going to ask yourself the next day, how do I feel? Am I exhausted? Am I sore? Do I need a day off? Okay, understandable. Keep it at 2 sets. Do 2 sets again. After you do 2 sets, are you sore? Are you exhausted? Are you wiped out? You're not. Okay, if you're not, then you can go to 3 sets. That'll be your maximum. And then you'll enjoy that program for a full 4 weeks or so. And then you'll switch it up in order to keep getting those results. But then you'll be invigorated because you're switching your program up every month, every 4 weeks, because you're improving, and then you switch it up. Now you can switch it up by, again, following a book, by hiring a personal trainer, by following some online program, right, that you trust. And I'm good with any of those. Whatever you want to do what works for you. But if you're choosing a program, you don't have to go all out with it in the beginning. If you choose like, I want to get into spin class, great. Sit towards the back of the class. You don't need to rev it up to a 10 if you're just starting out doing spin, right? Because the instructor, that's why I don't always love group classes. And the reason is, like, sometimes you feel like you need to keep up with everyone else. Well, you don't. The only person you need to worry about is you so that you don't burn out. Now I want to get into more of the premise around this. And this is why it works so well. Here's why. Okay, we have people come in and we do 4-week programs with them. The first week, like especially if it's a new client, we're doing a 5-minute dynamic warm-up. That means getting the body ready. So we're doing some hand walkouts, we might be doing some jumping jacks, some, different hip mobility, some hip swings, different things to get their body moving. Okay? And then after that, we're going to start to get into the exercise. If they're never worked out before, and let's say they're in their 60s, we'll start with 1 set. Because we don't know what their exercise recovery is like. Remember, your body in your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond can do the same exercises when you're in your 20s. And it should. The difference is we don't know how quickly you recover because recovery seems to be what lags, not your ability to do it. So we'll do 1 set. If you're 50s and below, we typically do 2 sets. But we also don't max out the weight. We allow your body and your nervous system to tell your muscles what to do. So that's going to take somewhere about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So now we do 45-minute sessions. So now we're about 30, 35 minutes into your workout. What do we do at the end? Couple intervals. That's it. Maybe 2 sets to 3 sets of mountain climbers. Or we hop on we have a Airdyne bike, and we hop on that for like 2 or 3 sets, just to get you used to what an interval is, so you can do it on your own if you choose to. After that, we have about 5 minutes left. What do? All we do is some foam rolling and stretching. Why? Because after the workout, we're looking to calm the nervous system, to get you into the parasympathetic nervous system as quickly as possible in order to allow your body to begin to heal. So we'll foam roll around the hips. We'll foam roll the mid-back, just like I spoke about earlier, so that you don't get these injuries and so that you start to move the calcium ions and you move the lactic acid through the body so that you recover at a faster rate. That's a great way to do it. Now, what week 2? We ask you, and our personal trainers, follow up by text or email or whatever you prefer. How did you feel the day after that workout? Oh, I was so sore, I could barely walk up the stairs. Well, we don't know that ahead of time, right? So here's what we do. We either do the same workout, same weights, we don't increase, right? Because we know that their body's adapting, or we do a little bit less. The person's like, no, I can handle it. Okay, but we definitely don't do more, and we don't increase the weights. Then after the workout, we say, how did you feel? Oh, I only had a little bit of soreness. That's it. Great. Now that next week, we know that they're adapting. We can go up either 2 sets, do a little bit more weight with those 2 sets, especially if you're in your, let's say, 50s, 60s, not recovering well, don't get a lot of sleep. We might keep it at 2 sets, but go up in weight. Now, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, still in decent shape. And again, you can be in your 70s in great shape. So I don't want to put numbers on anything at all. I'm just letting you know 300,000 appointments worth of data. I just want to give you some of that data, right? So then we say, okay, let's do 3 sets, but we don't need to increase the weight. Why don't we need to increase the weight? Because we're adding more volume now. We're adding 33% more volume. So we don't always have to increase the weight right away. And then in that week 4, we can also max out weight-wise. I mean, we might even choose to do 1 more week if it took us 3 weeks to ramp up to 3 sets. So you see how we're gradually increasing things? And it's also biofeedback. Listen to your body. That's what I'm asking you to do in the new year, right? Because you might be advanced. You might say, I'm already working out. I'm already working with some elite people. Great. That's fantastic. Their goals are going to be a little different. For our people coming into the new year, a lot of times as they're setting exercise goals, or me coming back from an injury, I need to ease back into it. What will I do myself? Every other day workouts. Every other day workouts. That's what I'll do for me. And I won't do 2 days in a row until I figure out how's my elbow feel. I need some of that biofeedback. But why also, though? Will we start people with just every other day, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday in the beginning? The reason is this. A lot of people, 80+% of people are going to be looking for body transformation results. So again, if you're a personal trainer, if you are a health coach, if you're an integrative health practitioner, people want results. Well, here's the thing. As you're losing the weight, you're doing great. Good. So you're doing it through your nutrition, whether you're joining us for the Dr. Cabral Detox in January, or you are doing your own nutrition program, whatever it might be. Great. Here's what I want you to think about. As you're moving into month 2 and 3, then we say, okay, we're starting to plateau results. We're not losing 1% of our body weight each week. What I want you to do is this. That's when I want you to add in another day of exercise. Or I want you to increase the length of that one workout. If you're doing 30 minutes, you'll increase that to 40 minutes or 45 minutes. Never longer than that. Never longer than that. That's what we don't believe in that. Too much inflammation in the body, too much metabolic breakdown, especially if you're moving your body, right? Not resting a long time between sets. So here's what to think about with that though. You could keep your 20, 30-minute workout or do what we do, which is basically a 40-minute workout, and we keep it interval-based, right? So we're keeping the heart rate going during all of our exercises. And I talk about this in A Man's Guide to Muscle and Strength, which is a book that I wrote a little while back. It's for women too, without a doubt. My publisher just named it that. We keep the metabolic machine going. So at that point, we're going to do maybe a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday workout. Or we're going to do more intervals on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday workout, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday workout, where instead of 5 intervals, it might be 10 intervals after the workout, right? So that'll increase demand. Now, what do we do from there? Well, again, we just ramped up the days. So we do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so that'll be another level up after we do more intervals. And then you might say, okay, after 2 more months, I plateaued. Now we can add 1 more day if we choose to, which is really the pinnacle. I think 5 days a week is the most really people should be working out because we don't live lives that are just relaxed, right? I mean, if you're in college, it's a different story and you're getting plenty of sleep and you're getting all the food you want, all of those things, different story. But, let's just say you've got 2 kids, you're working, a long full-time job, you're only getting 7 hours of sleep a night. You really probably should take 2 days off a week to allow your body to rejuvenate, right? Do your foam rolling, your stretching, your massage, your sauna, etc. So in those cases, I typically recommend a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, Saturday would be like a fun day, whatever you want for a workout, and then Sunday off. So you're taking Wednesdays and Sundays off. I see that as working great for most people. Now, on those days, you will then ramp up those workouts. That's essentially the max you can do. So if you're following this formula for the new year, what I'm really explaining to you is that you can do anything in the world that you want for exercise. And again, if you're not doing anything right now, something is going to be great. And I want you to follow something that you don't hate doing. And I know those are strong words, but my goal for you is what I said in the beginning, that's consistency. I need you to be consistent. Do something you enjoy. You want to do a spin class? Great. You want to do jazzercise? Good. I'm all for it. Only in the beginning, but you do some jazzercise. If you want to do some resistance, like metabolic work, then I think that's fantastic. That's what you should be doing a couple times a week. You want to just start with walking? Fine. Work up to the 10,000 steps every day. But what I want you to do is not start, like I said in the beginning, going for the gold. If you start with 5 days a week and you're doing nothing right now, there's not a need for it. Wait in every time you plateau with your weight loss, your body transformation, then add a little bit more to that workout that you're currently doing right now, or add in 1 more day, right? So that's how to do it, without a doubt. You might start with, okay, I'm going to walk every day and work with a personal trainer twice a week, and it should be at least a day or 2 apart so that I'm not getting my workouts just 2 days in a row and then taking off 5 days. That would be the ultimate. That's a great place to start. That's enough. Then when you plateau, you'll either do a 3rd day with your personal trainer, or you might just say to yourself, okay, ask your personal trainer, can you give me a workout I can do on my own? We do that all the time because not everyone's going to work out 3 days a week with a personal trainer, right? And you can also do that with a workout program. Let's say you're looking at a book or online. You might start with 2 of the workouts per week and then advance to 3. When you plateau, the key here is you do what your body needs to get results. A minimum of 2 workouts per week, though. That's for overall longevity and health and bone strength and all of those things. But you work up to that. If you're not doing anything right now, if you're sedentary, get up to your 10,000 steps per day. Add in 2 resistance workouts per week. That might just be body weight. And then the next step up for those could be adding in some weights and some intervals afterwards. And then after that, again, add in another day per week, but keep a day in between them. Don't do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because now you have 4 days off. Do the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now you only have 2 days off maximum in a row. That's Saturday, Sunday, right? A lot of people, that works great for them. So what I'm trying to do on today's show is simply show you what works, right? What you need to work, but also I'm a believer in not doing more than you need to. So we don't give more supplements than a person needs to. We don't give more even lab testing that a person needs to, although, sky's the limit with that because you can learn more about your body. and we don't give more exercise than a person needs to in the beginning. Do I believe every person should work up to 4 days a week of exercise? Yes, I do, because we are creatures that are meant to move our bodies. Now, could it be more yoga-based or some spin in there with exercise? Yes, you can do all different types of training, but get your body moving. The ultimate goal should be to work up to 4 days a week, maybe even 5, but not really destroying and breaking down the body. We'll talk about that more in the future as well. So tune back in for continuing Cabral concepts. But for now, if you're not doing anything, start with 2 days a week of a workout program and 10,000 steps per day walking. And then after that, maybe in a couple months, you start to plateau, then add in the 3 days a week. And then after that, then work up to the 4. But by then, you're going to start to enjoy the exercise. You're going to enjoy the exercise high that people get, the endorphin boost that people get. That will allow you to not only get the best results you can, but stay injury-free and keep the consistency that you're going to need to make sure that you get your best results yet in this coming new year. So hopefully today's podcast was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show, and I can't wait to share more tips in the future. Take care, everyone. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.